Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. All right, let's call an audible. Blue 44, red 17, set, hood, hood, hood. As we go to the, she's open, touchdown, 6. As we go to the gridiron, Patriots, Vikings, coming up this weekend. Of course, we're hyped, so we're going to talk about it with you. If you want to get involved, call us. I always tell you, I give out the number every 2 seconds. Get in here, let's party.
And shout out, great voicemails coming in. We really appreciate it. Love talking to y'all.
Okay, so, Case, here's the deal. Right now, there's a potential possibility of starting 2 rookies on the left side of this offensive line now.
Yeah.
This would be the first time in 25 years the Patriots have done this, if they do this.
Yeah.
So we're talking Will Campbell, Jared Wilson here. If that comes to fruition, the question overarching is, are you worried about Drake Maye's health starting 2 rookies on the left side of an offensive line?
Yeah. Well, I'm not worried about his health. There's some scenarios that we can compare this to and be like, okay, this isn't as tragic as one sounds. But when you're talking about that LT, that left tackle, this is a guy who's your sixth sense, you know, your eyes.
Yeah.
And you're asking for a lot of rapid development to be able to protect a guy who's also trying to, you know, get adjusted to a new system and be able to take that next step in his sophomore campaign. But as for health, I'm not worried. We've seen some tragic offensive lines in front of rookies and sophomores, and their health has not been a hindrance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Look, as someone who has trust issues, I don't.
I think we show our trust issues at different times, you know.
But still trust issues nonetheless.
All around.
I don't trust it. I'm sorry. Now, for this season, I don't think you have a choice. I think it's going to be Jared Wilson, and I think it's going to be Will Campbell, for better or for worse, okay? Cool. Big picture is where I don't trust it. I think ultimately we're going to get Wilson as center, which is what he is. We're going to get Will Campbell at left guard, which is what he is, in my humble opinion. And then either free agency with all the money in the world the damn Patriots have under the cap, or maybe you draft another damn tackle next year. But I do think at some point that's what we're going to get big picture.
Right.
If you're telling me big picture that I'm getting Wilson and Campbell for the next decade, I don't trust it. I don't think it's going to work. Now, we'll see. It's still early, obviously. These guys can earn it. Evan Lazar was here on our show with us yesterday.
Fantastic.
Patriots.com, and he kind of feels the same way we do. He has some real concerns with this offensive line and the rooks.
I think that's the biggest question right now that I have about their offense is passing offense in general. And it's not just one area. It's quarterback, pass protection, and receivers. Are they going to have the line that's going to hold up in pass pro? Are they going to get receivers open down the field for Drake Maye? And is he going to be consistent and smart with the football in those key situations remains to be seen. Now, on the second drive, they get into the red zone, and you see the mobility from Drake Maye. And I just think that element of his game is going to be so dangerous for the Patriots, especially when they get down by the goal line, that you have to worry about the 11th guy on the field being the quarterback, that he can just take off and run it in and jog it into the pylon there like he did on Friday night. So the good news is I think they're going to be able to be pretty dynamic down in the red zone, especially closer, inside the 10, inside the 5, because Drake Maye can use his legs, but they got to clean up the pass protection at number 1, I would say, as of right now.
Now, Case, you know this as well as I do. Pass pro takes time for cohesion and timing and all those kind of things to come together. But run blocking, you can do that overnight, even with a bad offensive line. So, hey, get Drake Maye on the run, as we talked about there with Evan, but also run Travion Henderson, please. Like, just run the damn ball. And then as the season goes on, maybe you can open up the playbook more for passing it. But I think early on, I'm fine. If you're telling me this Patriots team plays great defense and runs the ball down people's faces, I'm cool with that. And then let the passing game and pass pro and all those kind of things materialize as the season goes on. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I don't think that they have to take such a cautious approach out the gate. I'm sure it's, like Evan mentioned and like we're reading and stuff, it is kind of concerning to be like, all right, you're putting a lot of hope and trust into these rookies. But I feel like you have the right quarterback to weather this kind of storm.
I do too.
And I feel like you've made a great point to say say, design runs, make it something that he could be efficient in without putting anyone in harm's way. Because if you try to make him be a pass, a pocket pass quarterback, then you're putting him in a position to get hurt. You're putting him in a position to constantly have to go against these aggressive sacks and blitz packages that he'll be seeing. So with that, I look at the fact that there's been a number of rookies that have had piss poor pass protection in front of them when it comes to their offensive line, and they stayed healthy for the most part, and they were still able to produce. Let's jump over to a guy really quickly by the name of, CJ Stroud.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he sounds familiar to you, right? Well, I mean, he had an awful offensive line when it came to pass protection his rookie year and posted 4,108 passing yards, 23 tutties, and only 5 interceptions. So he wasn't a reckless guy either. So to have that constant reaction time be tested and kind of be in a fearful state because no quarterback wants to constantly be laying down.
Sure.
You're talking about a guy that was still able to produce, and they could have gone in with a game plan to just run the ball, and he still put up these kind of numbers. So that's something that I look at as an example. Caleb Williams. And you're talking about an offensive line that had nothing run protection.
They didn't have a damn thing.
No pass protection.
Nothing.
They were barely viable as a offensive line.
They were junior varsity against varsity.
Right. And while we saw some frustrating things as a whole, Caleb Williams, he had some moments where he still pulled through for this team, or at least looked good for being a quarterback considering. So that's another guy. And he didn't end up walking off the field with half his arm still hanging out.
Good
so
point.
I think we're okay there. And then the last one, you're talking about a quarterback that wasn't expected to see the playoffs, not his rookie year. No way. Get out of here. Jaden Daniels, offensive line, didn't start off well at all. As a matter of fact, this is an offensive line that didn't start getting progressively better to an extent almost halfway through the season.
Good point.
And there was a number of games as well where Daniels really only had 1 or 2 targets to go to over and over and over again. So you're talking about predictability being a factor with offensive line, and Jaden Daniels making it to the postseason as a rookie. So I think it all comes down to proper planning, proper execution, and they have the best test ahead going up against a team in the Minnesota Vikings who are going to be extremely aggressive defensively.
Damn right they are. You make great points. Look, I would argue CJ Stroud moves better than I would say Drake Maye moves better.
Did they lean into Drake Maye? Okay.
I think Drake Maye moves better than CJ Stroud. I would argue that. So that's advantage Patriots. I would also, you brought up Caleb. In the game against the Bears last season that the Patriots won, they sacked Caleb Williams 9 times in that game.
Could you do your job if you're horizontal 9 times?
And by the way, the Patriots last season didn't even have that great of a pass rush, and they still sacked him 9 times. And Jaden Daniels is just on another planet. I'll give you that. But look, I mean, Josh McDaniels was asked about the possibility of even starting these 2 rookies and what it would mean to this team. He answered it.
Rookies on the left side. I think our good friend Mike Reese had a stat, hasn't been done in 25 years to start the season. What is giving you the confidence that those 2 guys can handle what is about to come their way?
I think, the way they work every day certainly is, that's where it starts, and their performance, they've earned that right. This isn't something that somebody just, said, we're just going to do that without watching them in practice and evaluating what's best for the team. I think certainly Mike makes those decisions, and we're all here to try to support the guys that are in there and try to improve their skill set each day. But I think they've performed admirably. There's going to be some things they're going to learn throughout the course of every game, every practice. And our job is to help them improve. And so that's what we're going to do. We're not going to get frustrated with a mistake here or there. And we're going to make sure that we try to do everything we can to help them get better. And so far, those guys have made progress steadily throughout the course of their time here.
Okay, now here's the other thing. You alluded to this. It's the elephant in the room, so let's talk about it now. That damn Vikings defense. I know it's a preseason, but my God. First of all, they were right outside of the top 10 in total defense last season. So this is a very good personnel-wise, an excellent defense, right?
Yeah.
Then you just want to sprinkle in their defensive coordinator, who's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Brian Flores, who has a reputation of being mean, okay? He doesn't give a damn that it's a preseason. He's throwing that kitchen sink at Drake Maye or whoever's, okay, on this Patriots team. So I think that factors into this too, because the Vikings are not messing around just because it's preseason. It's a good test for the Pats.
It's the best test. It's the best test because when we look at game 1 of the preseason for this Patriots team, we talk about the opening drive. We talk about, Drake Maye being a little bit more decisive on whether to hold on to the ball, whether to get rid of the ball, not being risky there with giving it away. And it was already a discussion. He acknowledged it the minute he got off the field. So now he's going to be tested in that sense a number of times because they're going to get through to him. Yeah. And we're going to see how they counteract that with making sure that he runs at the right times and that he's able to have a quick release, or Henderson, run it down the throat.
Yeah.
But I will also say this. I mean, you're talking about a coach that's almost as blitz heavy, if not more, than Todd Bowles, who I covered for quite some time.
He's blitz heavy too.
Yeah, and then you just get a little fancy in the disguises and you don't have time to realize that they change things up on you before they're pouncing on you. So, if anything, we're going to see how quickly this team is able to adjust. Something else that Evan Lazar mentioned, and I think it was on his podcast or a work that I saw them do, they talked about them kind of having a sluggish start to training camp this week. So something else to just take into consideration, and plus they're traveling, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's in Minnesota.
Yeah. So it took a minute for them, but if anything, I have heard from other players, and I've heard from my brother. Sometimes when you have some of those energy-less practices, you're very much in your mental focus. So the playbook kind of adds up a little bit more. So maybe you're kind of focusing there a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see how they rise to this test. And even outside of Flores, I mean, you're talking about a defense that's been pretty destructive.
Yeah.
I had a chance, to interview Harrison Hittman-Smith. I had a chance to talk to Xavier Rhodes when Minnesota had signs talking about road closed. So I think that this team, I think the Patriots and the coaching staff are going to be well equipped to be hey, this is a defense that doesn't really go away, and we have an opportunity to game plan accordingly.
You know what I wrote down over here as you were talking was pre-snap. Because this is a great test for Drake Maye and Josh McDaniels to be on that same page pre-snap. When you walk up to that line and you look around, Brian Flores will disguise things, just like Todd Bowles, as you said.
Yeah.
But pre-snap, you better have the answers to that damn test. Because if you don't, look, I watched a game over the weekend. You don't. I watched a game over the weekend. Our esteemed producer, Ethan, and I talked about this, I think, on Monday, where Anthony Richardson, the Colts, I think, played the Ravens, if my memory serves me correctly. Someone in the back check me on that. But the Ravens and the Colts played. Anthony Richardson literally saw a corner blitz coming right at him. This was not blindside, okay? He sees this guy running at him. I guess maybe he thought the running back was going to pick him up. He didn't. He runs a route. So, bro, you're looking at this dude coming right at you. Throw the ball away. You're huge. Make a move, stiff arm, do something. No, he just stood there. Boom, he got smashed. He stood up. He held his hand up. His pinky was facing this way. Can you see? Take me on ISO, Greg. This was dude's pinky right here. So, I mean, listen, you saw him coming. What are you doing? I bring that up because Drake Maye, that cannot happen.
Right.
You gotta know. You got to use common sense. You got to see pre-snap what they're doing. You have to use your instincts. You have to use your legs. Get out of harm's way, however it takes, whether it's checkdowns, whether it's calling a pass pro, audibling to that, running for your life. Do something because the Vikings are coming for you with blitz-wise. And I bring up Anthony Richardson because that's another young quarterback, and it's just not the Wi-Fi is not connected.
I got a hot take on that one.
Well, please, we have time for a hot take.
Outside of one, maybe two, University of Florida does not breed quarterbacks. They do not breed quarterbacks. There is just some sort of disconnection when it goes to that next level. And okay, fine, maybe because my brother played at FSU, I might feel some type of way. But
you're right.
Realistically, UF does not breed quarterbacks. The same story tends to pan out for these guys over and over and over again. So, I know a lot of people talk about Drake Maye in college, and a lot of people actually wanted him to stay in college another year, didn't want him to make the jump. I get that. I hear that loud and clear, but still, I feel like he would maybe be primed in a different way to kind of avoid that kind of situation. But it's a great thing to point out because the possibility is there.
Okay, well, let me stay with your hot take. At Florida, you have 5-star offensive linemen, 5-star running backs, 5-star wide receivers, great big name, sexy head coaches, right?
Yeah.
At UNC, you got ramen noodles. You got figured out. So I say that to say Drake Maye is more adjusted to the NFL game.
To
where
figuring things
out.
out.
You lose personnel, whereas at Florida, everything's given to you. That's maybe what Richardson is struggling with.
Love to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, Boston has entered the chat. We're full of hot takes.
You put so many nice bows on that one. Yeah.
Hot takes from her, hot air from me. Don't you want to keep watching?